So what's special about this month?
It's Tickle My Elmo month, otherwise known as masturbation. Woo-woo! Yeah. Hey y'all, it's Onika
and J.R.
and you are dishing with DaintyDysh. How you doing over there, J.R.?
I'm doing okay considering it's Tickle My Elmo month. According to you.
My Elmo month. I remember when I first came up with that. It was like, I think I've been saying it since college.
Tickle My. I think that's been out there. Someone else has said it.
No, I thought of that.
It's yours. You're claiming it.
I'm claiming it.
Okay, fine. If you want to. So how you doing?
I'm doing all right, but I interrupted you. I want to know how you're doing.
Oh, you've learned, Onika.
I've learned. I'm learning.
You're learning? Okay.
I'm teachable.
Well, you're what? You're teachable.
Yeah.
I'm doing all right. I'm just hanging out. I'm doing the clown class thing still.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm getting more comfortable with my body and, being physical comedy and all that. So it's pretty cool for me. The class is great. It's at Second City. Other than that, it's
I saw your red nose the other day.
Yeah, we got a red nose. It's kind of cool. It's like sacred. It's really cool. Like there's like, I feel like I've joined a sacred society now that I have the nose.
Now that you have the nose.
Yeah, it's really cool. I actually didn't read anything this week. Isn't that strange? I'm taking a week off.
That's okay. You're always reading.
I know.
I don't read enough. I think I should. You're always
actually. You know what I was reading this week? I was reading one of your stories this week, but I can't talk about that.
Oh, how did you like it?
It has a lot to do with what we're talking about today.
It certainly does. So how am I doing? Let's see. Work's going okay. Haven't been getting a lot of shifts, which is a little irritating, but I think it's just because it's, springtime and people aren't shopping as much, whatever. But I'm over it. It's a little bit of a vacation and it's good for me to be able to take time off, do my writing, just do my own thing. So I'm okay with it.
But we need to get to our guest.
We need to reintroduce Nadine Thornhill, our sex educator, is on the show today. Nadine, how are you?
I'm so awesome. I'm so happy to be back.
It feels like only yesterday that you were here.
It really does. But yeah, I'm back, and I'm sorry, what did you call it? Tickle My Elmo month?
Tickle My Elmo month.
Yes, also known as Masturbation May or Masturbation Month. Every month is Masturbation Month at my house, but
every day is Masturbation Month at my house.
Oh my goodness.
I live alone. What else?
That's fine. Yeah.
I don't, but also.
So,
how are you doing?
I'm awesome. This is my favorite month, not just because it's the month that it is, but like it's May, like you're fully into spring, summer's on the horizon, like all the good stuff is coming up. So yeah, this is my favorite time of year.
That's good.
It's not mine, but I can understand why it's someone's favorite. I like the fall.
Fall is amazing too. Mm-hmm. I was not a fan of fall for a long time. Then I was like, why? This fall is beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of fall. It's usually like mental health wise, I fall into a depression. So I spring into action. So I'm like a spring kind of girl. And then I cool for the summer.
You don't play with daylight savings. You don't play with daylight savings.
No, I don't play with daylight savings. Like I just spring in and then just cool for the summer. Then fall back into my hidey hole. Back into my hidey hole where I do things like masturbate.
Yes.
So is masturbating normal? Like, is I'm just going to come out and just go there.
I feel like there's a stigma when it comes to masturbation when it comes to women. I grew up thinking that masturbation was a thing that boys did after they had their wet dreams. And then they would have to get just random erections. And then they'd have to stop the erection through masturbation. And then they just masturbated all the time. That's just what I thought guys did. But while I was thinking that, I was also I was introduced to masturbation really early in life. Maybe 11, 12. Like it was like I was really young when I started masturbating.
I don't remember starting masturbating because I think I always did it.
I think so too.
It's actually really common for like there's actually there have been ultrasounds where they've seen babies doing it in utero. Like it's a very natural human impulse to play with your genitals. So the earliest I remember doing it was like 3 or 4. And I know I had been doing it for a while then. And when I was a child, it was just like a self-soothing thing. I was like, it just physically feels good and it makes me sleepy. So that's what I did to put myself to sleep.
So that's what, even as a child, that's what it would be considered. Because like I feel like I agree with what you're saying with the early like 4 or 5 for me.
Yeah.
But I wasn't getting necessarily at that age sexual pleasure from it, I don't think.
Well, that's the thing.
Does it change as you go through puberty?
Absolutely.
Like the feeling of it?
It can change at different times of your life. So yeah. I work a lot with parents, and sometimes I will hear from parents who are very alarmed that their young children, are playing with their genitals. And what I explain is, when you're at that age, it's not erotic in the way that it is when you're, maybe going through puberty or an adult where, it's attached to very like clear sexual feelings or fantasies. For a lot of kids, when they do it, it's just, I'm touching a part of my body and it feels good, so I'm going to keep doing it. Like in the same way that a child is like, cookies taste good, give them to me. Like there's nothing else attached to it other than just the pure like pleasure of it. And I don't mean sexual pleasure. I just mean a thing that you really, really enjoy. So yeah, it does change over time. Absolutely. As does most of our sexuality. It develops and changes over the course of our lives. So yeah.
It's normal.
It's normal. As a sex educator, I try to move away from that idea of normal, although like 99% of the questions I field are some version of, is this thing that I'm doing, feeling, thinking, not doing, not thinking, not feeling normal? And I always say, well, yes, in the sense that anything that you're doing, thinking, feeling sexually or not doing, thinking, feeling sexually, you're not the only one, nor is everyone doing it. Like there's nothing about sex that's universal. There's nothing about sex that's entirely unique. So I'm less concerned with normal. And what I'm always concerned about is, how are you feeling? Are you feeling good about it? How is your experience around it? Does it feel like healthy and safe? And is it in line with your own personal morals and ethics? And if that's all good, then I'm like, you do what you want to do. Like it's your body, it's your life. So yeah, it's normal or common, I guess is the word that I would use. Masturbation is very common.
Common is a better word.
Yeah.
I feel a little bit of like, I still feel a little bit of guilt and shame around masturbating. Like because I masturbate with pornography. I watch porn. I watch it a lot, actually.
Yeah, you're pretty disgusting.
Yeah, I watch some pretty disgusting stuff. He's accidentally opened a browser a time or two, so JR knows what I'm talking about. But I tend to masturbate to porn. So when I'm watching porn, like as soon as I'm done,
right?
Like everything shuts down.
Okay.
Like vibrator away. Computer shut down, go to bed and never think about this again until tomorrow night when you do it again. Like,
and can I ask you, do you have a sense of what that shame is about, if you don't mind?
I think like for me, I was taught to masturbate, like, and this is getting we're gonna get deep for a second, but I was molested as a child.
Right.
And my molester had taught me how to masturbate myself.
Okay.
And so I feel like a little bit of that kind of plays into why I feel so much shame around masturbating, even though it's something I've done my whole, like it feels like my whole life. So there's just like, I feel like that's one of the reasons. It has nothing to do with religion or, my parents or society or anything like that. It's just, it was something that I was taught. So like, even I have to have like a level of distance between like my clitoris and like my hand, because
right.
I don't want to do that because that's what was done to me.
Okay. And that makes a lot of sense. And, I won't, psychologize you very much because that is not my realm of expertise. So I couldn't, even if I wanted to. But something I can tell you is that it is it's very common for people to have some connection between, how they masturbate or feelings that come up when they masturbate and sort of early experiences that are somehow connected in our mind to something sexual. And I mean, for yours, you're talking about a real trauma. So it makes total sense that like some of those feelings would get conflated when you are masturbating. And I think it's really actually great and really smart that you've sort of found a way to allow yourself to masturbate that still, physically feels good. And, you use a vibrator rather than your hands. And that's awesome. But yeah, even for people who haven't had trauma, a lot of people will find there's some connection between, feelings I have when I masturbate and like when I was a kid and walked in on someone naked, or I've certainly spoken to people who, for some reason, like if they were spanked as a child, there was some like low key eroticism that kind of got triggered in their mind. Not that they were turned on as kids, but they were just kind of like, oh, there's something about spanking that, is vaguely connected to like maybe touching that area of their body. And so, yeah, they'll have like these sort of confusing feelings sometimes come up where they're like I'm enjoying this, but also these like memories or just like shades of memories are coming up. So that's common. That is definitely common for people.
Jerry, kind of quiet over there.
Well, I'm going through a no masturbation phase right now. I'm trying to.
Why?
I'm trying to focus. No sex, no masturbation. It kind of helps. It kind of helps me stay focused. Like I'm on this get things done.
I feel
right
plugged
now.
up.
But valid. Like people are really, really different. Yeah, like for some people, they'll find kind of pulling back. And pulling back from like masturbation or sexual activity kind of allows them to channel that energy in a different way. And then there are people like you where they find like you really need a release of like, it's more like a buildup of tension or something. And so if you're not kind of letting that sexual energy, free flow and release, it kind of can be an impediment towards doing what you want to do. So it's really interesting. Like people are really different in the ways that they just sort of, relate to their own sexuality. So
overall, masturbation, good thing. It's common.
It's very common, and if you're enjoying it, if it's serving you, yeah, do it. Like,
and is there like an age where it shouldn't be done?
No.
That was amazing.
You're like, no.
Like, no.
There's
you
no
should be
age.
70 and masturbating.
Yeah, like the only thing I will say is that it should, always be consensual. So, it shouldn't be something that, you as, an adult or an older person are telling somebody else to do. It should be something that people do because they want to on their own. But is like I said, like even babies do it sometimes, and it has a different context and connotation than when older people do it, but it's not going to hurt you. Nothing's going to I guess the only possible concern would be like if you had a little kid or really anyone and they put something up their butt that could hurt them. That might be a concern, but that's not typically how children masturbate anyway. And for an adult, I'm like, it's your body. I would say just, use something that's not a porous material. And if it's going up your butt, make sure that it's got something to like kind of stop it from going up inside your body. But other than that, yeah, go nuts.
So masturbation is also okay when you're in a committed relationship.
I'm married. I masturbate all the time. Yeah, it's interesting. There is a stigma. I think there's a stigma sort of around that too. Like masturbation is kind of the lesser sex that you have when you can't have quote unquote real sex with another person. And that's, I mean, I know for me, I'll speak for myself. The sex I have with myself, masturbation, is very different and specific and distinct from the sex that I have with my partner. It feels different. The orgasm is different. And so sometimes I'm like, I want to have sex with me. Like that's who I'm here for today is me. It's not the same as like the partnered sex, which is amazing too. It's just different. One isn't better or worse. They're just different for me.
What do you do though when your partner is offended by you masturbating? I mean, I don't have a partner, but let's just say, like, let's say you're in the middle of having sex,
right?
And he doesn't like he finishes, but you don't finish, and then you pull out your vibrator and you start masturbating and they get upset, which has happened to me before in one of my previous relationships.
Okay.
Like, how do you handle, like, how do you explain to them, like, sometimes, like, I need my own release. Like, you didn't do it for me, so I got to do it for myself.
Okay, so see, the glib part of me is just like, get out. Like,
Get over yourself,
but,
I know.
That's not helpful. I know that's not helpful. Just break up with them. No.
I did.
Good.
Wow.
Okay. You know, in my own relationship, like, we've had those conversations so many times, and sometimes it happens, or sometimes I'm just like, I just want to finish myself. Like, it's not even like you didn't do it. I'm just like, you're not going to have a chance because I'm bringing it home myself because I want to, right? But I guess what I would say is, you could have a conversation about that. And I think it's often helpful to have those conversations outside of having sex, because when you're having sex and you're naked and, like, it's a very vulnerable time, so it can be hard to have those conversations. But, you know, some other time you might go for a walk or whatever, and you could say maybe something like, you know, listen, I just want you to understand that, you know, masturbation is, you know, it's a different kind of sex for me. It feels different than the sex I have with you. And it has, so when I masturbate, that has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do, like, it's not a commentary on your performance or your, like, you know, how good of you know, a partner you are, your great partner. It's just sometimes it's a specific sensation that I want, and it makes me really happy. And it feels really good for me. And so sometimes this is what's going to happen. And I personally think that if that person is, you know, a good sexual partner, they will want you to have sexual satisfaction. And if it comes from you, I don't think there's no reason to be threatened by that or feel diminished by that. In a way, it kind of lets you off the hook as a sexual partner, because you're like, hey, my partner is sexually independent and can handle themselves anytime they want. So I'm just here for the fun stuff when they want to play with me.
Yeah.
That's a very good point.
I like that perspective.
Yeah.
I think that yeah, I like that.
Yeah. And if they don't get that, break up with them.
Yes. Yes.
And then when you break up with them, become celibate.
Yeah, he was super vanilla and I was celibate. I became celibate after I broke up with him. But then I discovered recently that maybe I wasn't celibate for 2.5 years. Like, I broke up with him.
Okay.
And then I just didn't want to have sex with anybody.
Okay, so you haven't had sex for a while. But it's not really like a big deal. So technically being celibate means that you have made the decision not to get married or have sex for your life. So, like, priests and nuns are celibate if you want to go by, like, the strict dictionary definition of the word. I don't think you have to. So just choosing not to have sex, to, like, withhold from sex for whatever reason you want to, is called chastity. Chastity. And oftentimes
sounds like a stripper's name.
It does sound because like it can also be a name. Chastity is a name.
Chastity's a name, and you know when you name your kids those things.
And I think traditionally the word chastity is specifically used to refer to the idea of not abstaining from sex until you get married.
With the belt, right? That
the chastity
belt,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So what do they call people who've had sex and just decided, like, I don't want to have sex for a little while, or the opportunity hasn't come up?
That's just abstinence.
Abstinence.
You're abstaining.
Thank you.
You're abstaining. Yeah, and so yeah, you're right. Like, sometimes it's voluntary abstinence. Like, I am choosing not to have sex because I want to channel my energies elsewhere, or because I'm waiting for a specific type of relationship, or you know, I have an STI, I can't have sex right now. That's abstinence. But there's also the involuntary abstinence, which is like, there's nobody in my sphere that I want to have sex with right now. Abstinence, like sex, can have a lot of different meanings. And so I'm always like, if you have a partner who's like, I'm abstinent, I'm like, talk to them about what specifically that means. Because are you abstinent if you're masturbating? Some people would say yes. Some people would say no.
That's true.
Those loopholes.
That's a loophole. I would say you're still abstinent.
Right, and a lot of people would, but then I've met people who would say, like, no, like, abstinence is like no sexual, like, experience whatsoever, including masturbation.
God,
I'm
I'd
like,
kill myself.
I was like,
I would kill myself. I can't handle
and
that.
for some people,
That's too
they're just
much.
like, no, I'm okay. I'm not doing the thing. And then a person who is not interested in sex, who has no real drive to have sex, is asexual.
It's asexual.
Is asexual. So if it's just not.
Oh, really?
drive- Yeah. Yeah. There are people who are asexual. They have no interest in having sex. They don't really have a sex drive. They're asexual.
Really?
I think I know
Yeah.
someone who's asexual.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, and it's not like medical induced. It's not.
Nope.
It's just.
Nope, they're just like, I'm not super
I'm not
interested,
interested
in it. They don't really get like sexually aroused. And that's really interesting too, because there are some people who are asexual who are like still in relationships and married. They're like, I'm not anti-romance. I'm just not down for sex. And
someone still married them?
Yeah.
Is someone still married?
Yeah, they're asexual.
The way he said that, and someone still married them?
Yeah, sometimes it's like two asexual people, or one person's like, I can masturbate or handle this in other ways, but we don't have to have sex. And sometimes asexual people will have sex for other reasons, like we're in an asexual marriage, but we want to procreate and have a child, so we will have sex to get pregnant, but it's not like a yay sex, just like it's a thing I got to do because this is how we're gonna make a baby together. But yeah, there are people who are asexual. It's actually a lot more common than I realized.
Really?
Before I became a sex educator. Yeah, it's not. You know what? Let me not misquote the statistics, but it's a not insignificant portion.
Okay.
Like it's like a full percent or two of people who are asexual.
I didn't even know that existed until
Yeah.
like 30 seconds ago.
That's why we have a sex educator on the show.
Hey, good call. Good call. Good call.
Go Nadine. No, I was wondering though. I'm actually starting. Like I haven't considered. I'm in it now. I'm online dating.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
doing it. Yeah, I didn't tell you. I didn't mention this to you, but I'm concerned about wanting to continue to abstain,
Okay.
but be in the dating realm. Like,
Okay.
do you know navigating that tricky space where you've seen someone a couple of times, which hasn't happened to me yet because I keep passing on guys, so I haven't actually met anyone yet, but I'm anticipating this will happen. I see them a couple times, and then there's an expectation that I'm going to be ready to hop into bed.
Right.
But I still want to, I think I'm considering that I want to continue to abstain throughout this process.
Okay, so a couple of things I would say to you. I personally don't think that expectations of somebody else's sexual readiness or whatever is very helpful. You can have hopes, like, we might go on a date. Just hypothetically, we're going to go on a date, and I might be like, Onika is super down, and I would love to be with her, and I hope that, we could have sex sometimes. That's different than having an expectation where I'm like, well, it's been 2 dates, so she owes me. And I'm not saying that people don't think like that, but that I don't think that is something that you need to go into a relationship, even if it's casual or you're just feeling it out. Really, you don't have to cater to that on any level, and you are 100% within your rights to be honest and to be like, this is not something that I'm interested in doing right now. Maybe at some point down the line. And if that person is a respectful person, they'll be honest with you. And there will be some people who are like, okay, well, I was just, DTF, so this is not so much for me. And then okay, this is not the relationship for me either. But I really think when it comes to sex, it's really, really important and really the best policy to, as much as you can be, just be honest about where you're at. And what you need, and that anybody who is really respectful of you just as a human, it doesn't mean that they have to agree or that they have to be in the same place, but they're not going to get angry at you or, be outraged or be like, well, it's been 2 dates. This is the unspoken rule of dating. It's not, we're all different. We all, come to sexual readiness and partnered sex in our own time. And you are 100% allowed to do that. And so if somebody has a problem with that, get lost. Because you deserve better than that. Everyone deserves somebody who's going to respect who they are as a sexual person. So I would say don't be too pressed about what expectations somebody else might have of you, but really focus on as much as you can paying attention to what it is that you want and what's going to feel good for you and where your boundaries and desires are at, so you can communicate those clearly to whoever you might be dating. And you will meet people who will be like, hey, yeah, that's chill. Like,
I just feel like for me, abstaining over the last, there was a slip up in September, but I abstained for the last 2.5 years. It was because I didn't want to deal with sex.
Right.
I didn't want to, I have other issues that I'm going through. I'm working through with my therapist, getting treatment for, and I just don't want to deal with sex. But at the same time, I want the romance and companionship. So it's like the challenge for me is continuing to abstain, but then having my own expectations of love and romance and not necessarily sharing the whole sexual experience with that person.
And I think you are allowed to have that if that's what you want. I don't think that it has to be that, oh, okay, you can have romance and companionship and affection, but only if you are willing to give me sex in return. Sex is not transactional. I mean, unless it's transactional, you know what I mean? Like, I have no problem with people who are like, I am giving you sex in exchange for this other thing that you are giving to me.
So that's okay? Transactional sex is okay?
I think as long as it's happening consensually, everyone's an adult. I'm like, have your transactional sex. I don't see why not, if that's what you want to do. But in your case, you are talking about, you want a relationship with someone and you want some time to build that up and you want some romance and some other things. And it's 100% appropriate for you to be like, these are the things I want as I'm dating and getting to know people. Sex is not one of the things that I want to deal with, at least not early on, not at this point. And so I think, just be, I understand it's hard. I don't want to be like, super glib and be like, oh, just do it. It's super easy. I know that can be hard. But I really think that is the best policy. And again, just want to reiterate that you are allowed to want those things and those are not unreasonable things to want from a partner.
Thank you so much, Nadine. I feel so much more informed about masturbation and celibacy, which is not really celibacy. It's chastity, which is not really chastity. It's abstaining. I feel so well informed. I hope my mother's not listening because we got deep. We went deep.
We went there.
We talked about now she knows my code, tickling your Elmo. I'm taking credit for that. I don't care what you say.
Go for it.
Yeah, but Nadine, thank you so much for being on the show and having a sex talk with us, giving us some sexual education. We really appreciate it. And at the end of the day, we needed you here. It's super awkward.
The last one we had was really awkward.
It was super awkward between me and JR. We're cousins. It's weird.
Well, yeah, I get it. You're related. It's awkward when I talk to my relatives about sex also, because you're related by blood and those are not people you have sexual relationships with typically, or you should not.
We're not kissing cousins.
No. Our mothers are sisters. We're real cousins.
Well, to your mothers, Onika and J.R.'s moms, it's gonna be okay. If you're listening, it'll be okay.
Your daughter masturbates. It's okay. Fine. She's been doing it for years.
It's common. They're great. It's going to be fine. I promise you. You're professional.
But if you guys have any questions for Nadine, sexual or otherwise, please, Nadine, let them know how they can reach you. And then we're going to let them know how they can reach us.
Okay, yeah. Hit me up on my website, NadineThornhill.com. Or you can find me on the gram at Nadine Thornhill or Twitter at Nadine Thornhill. I'm Nadine Thornhill on all platforms. Just Google me and I'm there and we'll chat.
Wicked. So Onika, what's going on with OnikaDainty.com?
We've got some poetry, journal entries, and blogs. I have to get back to my focus of writing. I've been working on my book a little bit more than I should be.
And we've gotten coming up on the 30th?
On the 30th, my book, my chapter is launching, Empowering Women to Succeed, the Leap Edition. It is launching. I'm so excited about this, guys. I hope you guys support and buy a book.
And where's the launch party?
The launch party is to be announced. I will let you guys know as soon as I do. Because I can't remember. I think it's Paradise Hall. I think. But in Vaughan.
Okay.
I think it is. So I will let you guys know as soon as I know, and hopefully you can come out support. If not, then like I said, buy a book, read my story, and line my pockets. So line my pockets.
You're hilarious.
Yeah, go ahead, JR. Let's know how they can reach us.
Yeah, so you can also reach us at Dysh, DYSH, at DaintyDysh.com. That's DaintyDysh.com. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, please continue listening and subscribe. And
give us a 5. You deserve a 5.
If you're listening to us any other platform, we have our YouTube channel. We're on SoundCloud. We're on a couple other places. Off the top of my head, I can't remember. But if you're listening to us on those, please continue to listen and subscribe.
Well, that was the dish of the day. Thank you again so much, Nadine, for joining us. We hope to hear from you again soon. And to all the rest of you, you have a happy, 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 happy hump day.